Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let me get the camera up. Oh, no, that's the small camera. We want the big camera.
Make it bigger, Addy. Make it bigger. I need to see you bigger. Sorry. Yeah, completely inappropriate. I'm really sorry. I didn't think completely to start this again. Sorry.
Hello, and welcome to the Dark Water. I'm not sure what actions to do for Dark Water. Dark Water review, detailed review and discussion, Doctor Who style. The episode finished about 45 minutes ago, and we would love to get your thoughts on tonight's episode. If you use exclamation mark question and tell us your thoughts, what you liked, what you didn't like, what you'd see, what you anything that you'd like us to kind of read out or discuss on the show, then do use exclamation mark question, and it'll pop up on my screen, and then I'll be able to get that up on. We will be able to discuss it. So quite a dramatic start.
A hugely dramatic start.
Mr. Pink.
I know. Did you shed a tear, Mr. Pace? For Mr. Pink?
Did I shed a tear?
You looked at me and went, "Whoa, that was dramatic."
I did.
In a slightly northern accent, as you are wont to talk in.
Because it was pretty. That was pretty major thing.
Yeah.
They obviously wanted to start the finale with something pretty spectacular. I think I need to start with a rant, though.
I know.
And you know what I'm going to rant about.
Well, I've already heard the rant. So
Yeah.
yes, I do know what you're going to rant about.
I'm going to start with a rant. Okay, the rant is this. The bloody trailer. The trailer from last week's episode had Cybermen in it, and it had Cybermen in it in London, and it had Unit in it, and it had, what's the name, Osgood in it, and it had something in it, but it ruined the whole episode, because the whole episode tonight was a really pretty well done, I think, build up to a Cyberman reveal, to a reveal of being in London, and to an attempted kind of iconic Cybermen walking through London type thing. But you saw it in the trailer last week. So, as soon as they're there kind of going, oh, well, the water stops like organic things. You can't see metal things, you can only see organic. And it's like, well, they're the Cybermen, because I know it's the Cybermen because I saw it in the trailer. And then when the guy's kind of like, oh, yeah, there's some sort of skeleton there, but you can't see it. Well, it's like, well, that's the Cybermen because you can't see it. And then, when they're all kind of like, where are we? And it's like, well, you're in London because we've seen the Cybermen in London. And it's just, but why would they ruin their own show? It was a good build up. It was a cool, because Clary was saying that she quite, the bit with the window kind of had the little Cybermen hint, and Clary said she actually got it then. But
because I didn't see the trailer last week, I don't know what was happening. I think I was tending to Izzy or something, so I missed the trailer.
Yeah,
and actually, the episode was amazing without it.
Oh, but this is the thing. Is like, it's just so frustrating that they ruin their own episodes, their own ideas, their own things they put money and time and emotional investment into by sticking all of it in the trailer. Like, why? Like the episode was one of those build-up episodes. You can see, it's definitely a two-parter, as we know. And today's episode was supposed to be that kind of, that slow kind of pulsing build-up episode. What's going on? What's the reveal? Yada, 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 yada. And they gave away the big reveal in the trailer. It's like one of those ones, they did it once with Eccleston. They put a Dalek in the trailer, or like an exterminate, a little light, and it's like, well, that's a Dalek then. And then you spend the whole episode when they're kind of going, oh, what's this, what's that? You spend the whole time going, well, it's a Dalek. And today I spent the whole time going, well, it's a Cyberman.
I'm glad you didn't say anything.
Well, yeah, because this is the thing. If it was the case that I'd gone around online and I'd searched around and I'd Googled it and I'd found it, then that's my fault, and I've investigated. Or if I go to one of those backstage news things, then I find it. But I really don't. I literally watch Doctor Who, and I come and chat here, and I deliberately stay away from all that kind of stuff because I really like to, be surprised and to be kind of sucked in and kind of go, ooh and ah, ooh and ah. And tonight I just spent the whole time going, I know. And then I mean, the pink thing was a surprise, and obviously there was the master thing at the end, and we'll be talking about the master thing. So there were a couple of surprises in it, but by that point, I was already kind of
You were pissed off.
yeah, I was kind of bugged by that point because I was just like, you're ruining your own stuff. And in the trailer, they have stuff for next week. Like there were lines that Clara. I'm not going to repeat them obviously because Clara hasn't heard them, but there are lines that Clara says that were in the trailer last week that are for next week coming, and there are characters as we've already talked about, and it's just like, well, why? Why would you ruin your own stuff?
Okay, Mr. Adipose. We understand. We have heard you.
I've ranted.
You ranted.
It really bugs me.
I know, and I can completely sympathise, and I realise I'm talking from the point of view of someone who didn't see it, so I didn't have that frustration. So all sympathies for people for whom the trailer ruined the episode. And I can see it because, like you said, it was a build-up episode. It's not like the fact that it was Cyberman was a subplot. That was the point of the episode, was revealing that.
Exactly.
And they revealed it in the trailer. So, yeah, I think we need to write to them. You know what I'm like about writing to people.
And they do it worse, like because throughout the internet this week, there's been this whole "who is Missy" thing.
Yeah.
And by flagging up who is Missy, it tells you that she's someone we know.
Yeah.
You know, it's giving away plot details because some people have said, I've seen some people kind of talk about whether it's Rani, whether it was the Master, whether it was Riversong, whether it was the Doctor's daughter, and lots of people have said, well, maybe it's someone new, but you can actually already kind of go, well, it's not someone new because they've said who it's in.
My dear, you have had your rant. I think we need to say some positive things now. Do you have anything positive to say?
It was a really good episode that was ruined by the fact that I knew the ending. That's my view. It would have been great, and now I'm, I just feel like if the Cybermen turned up right at the beginning, I would have enjoyed the rest of it because they didn't, and all of the clues were towards the Cybermen. It was just like, here we go, let's go for it. Your rant.
No, I don't. I like. Well, I didn't see the trailer, so this was all completely new information to me. Also, I have the memory of a small goldfish, not even a big goldfish, but a small goldfish. So almost everything is a surprise to me daily.
Yeah.
I had one small rant I'm going to have, but I loved the beginning bit, although super sad when Danny Pink died.
Yeah.
But it was a genuine, like, no, shut up, they didn't do that.
Yeah.
Kind of a moment. And the whole kind of plot that there's this kind of perhaps afterlife, neither really heaven nor really hell. Because, you've always kind of wondered, well, what does happen when you die?
Yeah.
And
Doctor Who goes all religious.
Doctor Who goes all religious. And
which we actually talked about a few weeks ago, didn't we? We talked about if they were going to tackle an afterlife type thing, and they did. Got a form of.
Kind of. A really macabre sense of humour, like when that guy looked at Danny Pink and went, oh no, he didn't. He popped his head around the door and went, oh, we've got a cremation in here.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like,
we've got a burner.
We've got a burner. That kind of really macabre sense of humour, which you're kind of laughing and kind of also thinking, thank God my daughter's in bed right now. And
how cold was the whole "don't cremate me" thing? The 3 words. That was horrible.
It was horrible.
There's now going to be There's now going to be an entire generation of children that will be petrified of cremation, and if there's a funeral and they go to it and there's a cremation.
Graves, quite honestly.
Yeah.
That I was genuinely thinking, I'm glad that Izzy's in bed, and I'm not ever going to let her watch Doctor Who until she's a lot older, because that was quite scary. So all of those things I loved. I didn't guess who Missy was ever.
Yeah.
So that was a cool twist, not a twist, but a cool reveal at the end for me. The slow kind of burning realization of who the enemy was really cool for me. My one rant is, I hate it when it turns out to be a dream.
What, the opening section?
Yeah, the opening section was so strong, and that bit where they were standing on the volcano, just the Doctor and Clara, and she was like, I'm gonna throw the keys in, and you're like, she's not. And I kind of thought, because I hadn't seen the trailer, I thought that was going to be the kind of the basic plot line.
Yeah, her forcing him to go back. Yeah,
absolutely. And what happens when you mess with that timeline and her taking control. And I just thought that was so cool. And then when all of a sudden they were back in the TARDIS and it had been a dream, I was like, shut up.
It's true. The Clara forcing the Doctor to break his own timeline, I think, is actually tonight's plot line was strong, but that would have been even stronger. Yeah. But once they actually got back into the TARDIS, he didn't fold, but he was very much, we'll do whatever we can. And I mean, he didn't say that he would go back and interfere with the car accident, but he did say he would go and do everything else.
And I don't even think... I think that they could have recovered that better. I think it was really lazy writing to just be like, oh, yeah, the patch didn't work and you were kind of screwed.
Well, it allowed neither of them to lose face. That was it. They both kind of come out of it equally strong. That was the... But I know what you mean.
But they could have had a much stronger plot line out of it, because they'd already given... Clara had already thrown the keys in, so we knew what her intention was.
Yeah.
Why not have her throw the keys in, but it turns out he has another way into the TARDIS? Something like that.
Well, I think they've established in previous episodes that he can click his
He
fingers.
can click his fingers.
It was the whole David Tennant,
Yeah.
the TARDIS door opens right in front of her. He could have had a proper, don't you ever tell me what to do, and my TARDIS
Yeah, and then he could
is
have
mine.
gone back and helped her, or whatever.
Yeah.
But for it to be a dream, I was like, please.
It was, to be fair, not just a dream. It was like a dream induced by him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tiny Dancer, I noticed that you said this is a stream full of spoilers. This is literally a stream full of spoilers. This is an entire spoiling stream. That is the point. So if you haven't seen it, I really would recommend that you, if you haven't already, that you switch off and watch this on YouTube afterwards. Because this is a review show, so it will utterly ruin it for you.
Okay, let's get some comments here. 99 Thermo says pros, everything, literally everything. I mean, it's a really cool idea. The idea of the kind of after consciences being kind of held in that kind of ball, separated from bodies, possibly returned to it. There's really kind of cool ideas there. Time Lord technology. Those of you that are going to the Addy meet, I know I mention this every time, but we hopefully at some point will be able to pop into the Cardiff Art Gallery, and once again they use the Cardiff Art Gallery throughout that episode.
Yeah. What is it called? It's not the Afterlife. The 3W.
The 3Ws, but it's
W's was pretty.
if you do the Cardiff tour for the Doctor Who stuff, you then watch Doctor Who and you keep breaking your own fourth wall and going, they're in the museum again, or they're in that street, which is cool. What else have we got here? Do we think Danny will live again? From RB677112. Well, in theory, he is dead. Like he isn't in an afterlife. He's in a Time Lord collection of consciences, which is kind of a ball.
His body is dead.
Yes. So my guess would be that he's not going to come back. There'll be like an emotional compensation, or there'll be a way to that they'll have to do a final goodbye, or she might even join him in the ball, or there might be because they've talked about she says I'll do anything to kind of be with you. I will go to it. They've set up a bit of a, I will go to wherever you are type line. So no, I don't think Danny will live again. This is not a spoiler. I have no knowledge, but am I allowed to give a prediction?
No.
Okay.
You don't let anyone else give predictions.
Okay, I will not give a prediction. What was Clara doing at the beginning when she was talking to Danny? That's a question. Remember how in the previous episode, Danny said that he wanted her to tell him exactly what was going on and what she'd been doing with the Doctor. So I think she was going to talk to him, tell him about basically how she'd been lying to him.
She had Post-it notes around the room of all the things that she had to tell him.
Yes.
So she started off with "I love you," and I think she was working up to, "Oh, and by the way, I've been risking my life every single day, and I'm still travelling as a doctor."
Sadly, she didn't get any further than that because she got hit by a car. Matthew191 says today's episode was the best I've seen in a few years. Although the start was confusing, it slowly.
Poor Addie's poor.
Did you read that out?
Wow. Right, today's episode was the best I have seen in a few years. Even though the start was confusing, it slowly started to build up. I could not believe Missy meant the master. A very good trick which made us all have the moment where we went... Sorry, I'm going to have to read it to myself and then read out.
Where we went, oh yeah, of course. The storyline was well explained and have built up for next week's episode. Also love how they've introduced the Cybermen in this episode. 100 out of 100. R.I.P. Danny Pink.
100 out of 100.
Yeah, I agree that the Missy thing was one of those ones where you were like, of course, Missy, Mistress, Master. It was one of those. Sorry, do you want to talk about something?
Yes, I'd like to talk about 100 out of 100. That's a pretty high score. That can't be topped 100 out of 100. I completely agree with. Well, no, I agree with you on most of those points. I was surprised that Missy was the master. I have to admit, of all of the things I thought, that actually hadn't crossed my mind.
Well, a lot of the discussions in the chats before we started the show was about the gender bending master. Some people saying, "Great, cool. It's about time. This opens the door to be for a female doctor in the future." Some people saying, "What's the point? Why not just bring back a female Time Lord instead, like the Rani or a new character or the Doctor's daughter?" And various other things in between. In fact, Doctor Who 778 here says, biggest twist of all time, Moffat knew that the rumours of a female Doctor when casting Capaldi and planning Series 8, and he's twisted that around into something phenomenal. Really can't wait for next week. I've got two questions for you then.
Okay.
Let's go. Do you think it is a twist having a female master?
Yeah, I do actually. Because everyone's been speculating for so long about there being a female Doctor, to have a female... okay, yes, I do think it's a twist because having a female master is unexpected and is an unexpected reply to the question of can we have a female Doctor. The only thing that I'm hesitating on whether or not it's actually really, really cool is I still want a female Doctor. Like, you can't just... Because, I mean...
Is that way of placating it, bro?
Kind of, yeah. The master's cool, but he's not the Doctor. And I don't want them to just be like, oh, let's have a female master and then everyone will be quiet and we don't actually have to put a female in the real spotlight. It won't stop me asking for a female Doctor, as one saying.
And do you think it's good to have a female master?
I think it's good to have a female master as long as it isn't used instead of a female Doctor.
Well, a female, I think we're a long time off a new Doctor, and I'm not if it's going to use that way. I know. I'm. For me, I must admit the gender's just not really an issue. For me, it's just like, it's a new master. I agree, it's different. But having a very young master and a young Doctor has been very, very different.
And Tiny Dancer, I definitely agree. I should totally be the next Doctor.
I don't know if it's. I guess it depends how her femininity will affect her character. Will depend on whether it actually kind of works. I mean, you had that kiss today, which obviously you wouldn't have had if it was the male version. Well, who knows with Doctor Who these days? And
see, I would argue that it shouldn't really affect her being. It shouldn't affect her character as the master because
it has, because they snogged. They've obviously brought her not just a feminine actress, but a femininity to the character.
I don't think it should, because is the fact that the previous incarnation of the master was male, did that affect his personality? Did he do things that only men could do because he was a man? Or only men would normally do because he was a man? Or was he just the master?
I think he was probably just the master with a few minor things, like he had a wife and things like that. But I would say her just from the snogging scene and the fact that it flustered the Doctor, I would say her femininity brought more changes tonight than.
But that will annoy me if that
happens. What else have we got here? Shillin says, but the female master is an answer in a way from Moffat saying, yes, we can have a female Doctor. Look, we have a female master. Although the master is quite an unusual. As I rack my brain for Doctor Who lore here, I believe the master has lost all of his regenerations and therefore has to steal his regenerations from other beings. I think he's slightly different, whereas the Doctor's regenerations were reset, or who knows. But I think obviously it does, because it shows that someone can go from one gender to the other. But I mean, just if we go completely within the world, it doesn't necessarily mean that others can do it. Two. Jordan Rod says, why do you think the Master Missy called the Doctor her boyfriend in Deep Breath? Well, again, I'd say that's bringing the femininity into it. I don't think if that was John Sims sitting there, I don't think he'd say that, my boyfriend. I think it's just a sign of affection, a sign that she knows him before. The other slightly weird thing is the last time we saw the Master, he saved the Doctor's life, and he got revenge on the Time Lords, and he actually kind of saved the day.
So it'll be interesting to see how the relationship between the two of them develops this time.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, the Doctor could have been like, "Oh my God, it's you! You know, I'm so glad you're still alive."
Oh, I thought that was interesting. I thought that the Doctor's reaction to the reveal of Missy being the Master was really interesting.
He was horrified.
Because he was scared in a way that I haven't really seen other Doctors be scared.
Right.
I've seen, Tennant did apprehensive really well. And kind of that disgusted kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But Capaldi had an actual genuine fear on his face, which I don't think I've seen.
Well, maybe, that means someone's got out of the time lock again. Oh my God, what are you doing with the Cybermen? There's lots of kind of various links there. But yeah, no, it was the reaction was different. Although when the fob watch was opened, Tennant showed fear as well when he found out about that. Jen Devine here says, I agree with you on the trailer thing. I like the episode, but I feel unsatisfied because I anticipated a lot from the trailer and they didn't. Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating. Again, I'm sorry to go back to it, but the trailer contains stuff from next week's episode. Like, we already know things that will happen or characters that will be there. I mean, I think I might have to start doing what Agrajag does and just not watching and just pausing before the trailers come on.
I think that's why Agrajag does it.
But I don't think I should have to deliberately cut out bits of the things. I'm not even sure I could, because we were watching Strictly Come Dancing. We were watching Strictly Come Dancing before, and they had a Doctor Who trailer with a load of that stuff before Strictly, and then
I think every time you see Doctor Who, you just need to hit the pause button.
I think possibly I do, but I don't get why they're trying to shove their own spoilers down your throat.
Especially since they're so precious about people spoiling things.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
It's like, don't have a go at everyone else for spoiling things when you're doing it every day yourself. BBC.
Mudhut 4 said, love the episode, but potentially changed 3 previous storylines. Orson Pink, the Master in Doctor Who Legacy, and the Silent Base in St. Paul's in Doctor Who The Eternity Clock. Yes, because I suppose, how do you have Orson Pink if Clara and Pink were not around? Or he's dead?
Do you know what? Timelines in Doctor Who are so wibbly wobbly. I don't even try and get my head around that kind of stuff.
It can all be changed. I have a theory on that, but I shall remain stum. Tony Dancer says, didn't the Doctor kiss Rory in the spaceship? Gender doesn't really matter. Yep, I agree. And also, Captain Jax kissed the Doctor. So yeah, you're right that the gender doesn't necessarily make a difference to the kiss, but I wouldn't have seen John Sim doing that, because it wouldn't. I don't. Maybe, who knows? If Danny is dead, then how does Orson fit in? Is Clara already pregnant? Says Henwa. Possibly, she could already be pregnant. Someone says, who am I talking to? Talking to my lovely wife, Clara. Cool. Well, it looks like tonight really was a good episode with lots of good things. Some lovely special effects, like with the water coming down and the arm in the water and things like that.
Some lovely bits of dialogue between the Doctor and Clara at the beginning.
Oh yeah. I'll throw these keys or say no. What did you just say? No? I guess I did say no. And then both of them trying to get control of the conversation, and again showing how well she knows the Doctor so much better than other companions. Like, she knows where all of his keys are kept. How many other companions could you have said that about? She can push his buttons and can kind of, I mean, although she failed to control him, the fact that she attempted to was, she tried to knock out the Doctor or portray the Doctor. Agnati says, I've got a weird feeling that nothing that happened in this episode will have any real reason, like it was an entire episode of red herrings. I think we'll end up with a big kind of Cyberman shooty fest at some point, because we normally do. But I think tonight was one of those episodes that if you didn't know what was coming, it was great. And if you did know what was coming, you were just waiting for something to happen. And when it did, it ended.
Oh dear.
Yeah. You're right that the Afterlife character, not Danny, but the other one, he was so cold.
He was so cold.
But at the same time, kind of sympathetic, in that you could see he was trying to be empathetic and trying to see where these people were coming from, but then keep just slipping in the odd phrase that makes you go,
Yeah. Like, my condolences.
Yeah. So you are you're dead, and and it's it was a good character and well performed, I think, as well.
Do you think that actually does happen when we die?
What, we get turned into Cybermen?
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, so thank you so much for joining our little review tonight. Sorry, no one messaged me beforehand to say that they'd like to come on the show. I'm afraid, so we haven't got any other voice for you tonight. Although it does look like Sofa Spud is just finishing watching it for himself. But thank you so much for coming along, and we'll upload this to YouTube. And if you've got any other thoughts about the episode, then of course you're welcome to stay in the chat, chatting about Doctor Who, as long as you wish to. And of course, next week, hopefully spoiler free, the actual finale, the Doctor versus the Master. Can't wait. Of course, Doctor Who